to Fantasy Filmball, the place where we turn movies into sports and sports just something that we don't talk about. My name's Dyl and the juice is loose. I got the opportunity to see one of this fall's most anticipated titles, so let me tell you all about it. Oscar-nominated singular creative visionary Tim Burton and Oscar nominee and star Michael Keaton reunite for Beetlejuice Beetlejuice, the long-awaited sequel to Burton's award-winning film. Beetlejuice is back. After an unexpected family tragedy, 3 generations of the Dietz family return home to Winter River, still haunted by Beetlejuice. Winona Ryder's Lydia's life is turned upside down when her rebellious teenage daughter Astrid, played by Jenna Ortega, discovers the mysterious model of the town in the attic in the portal to the afterlife is accidentally opened. With trouble brewing in both realms, it's only a matter of time until someone says Beetlejuice's name 3 times, and the mischievous demon returns to unleash his very own brand of mayhem. Beetlejuice is back to wreak havoc, and audiences are drawn back into the whimsical afterlife for another round of chaotic fun with Beetlejuice. Although I have personally never understood the widespread acclaim for Tim Burton's distinctive style, maybe I was too young, or when I first saw all of his iconic films, I went in with a too critical of a mindset. However, recently I revisited the original Beetlejuice and discovered that it's in fact my favorite work of his. But to my surprise, this sequel, Beetlejuice Beetlejuice, may even eclipse the original in sheer fun. The standout feature of Beetlejuice Beetlejuice has to be its stellar ensemble cast. Michael Keaton, slipping back into his iconic role with effortless charm like he never left, delivers a performance brimming with hilarity. His impeccable comedic timing and versatility are on full display, especially in scenes showcasing his black and white past life and others where his dialect kinda shifts from his original iconic tone. These moments are particularly memorable, underscoring why Keaton's portrayal remains so beloved and so iconic. And you know who else is iconic? Catherine O'Hara, because she also returns and she's also so funny as ever. Additionally, Willem Dafoe makes a notable impression as this eccentric deceased actor turned detective. His goofball persona perfectly complements the film's quirky tone, and his performance brings some of the most memorable laughs, balancing both humor with a grounded presence that enhances the film's overall appeal. Plus, you know, he always keeps it real. And you know what? What makes Beetlejuice Beetlejuice a successful legacy sequel is its fresh take on the original concept. Because we always have the discussion, do we really need a sequel? It's been so long. Sometimes the original creatives come back, sometimes they don't. Here we have it on full force with this film because there are nods to the original film that you can laugh at, that you can love with. There's plot lines revolving around Jenna Ortega's character, and it's very similar to Winona Ryder's in the first film, but this sequel introduces new storylines and new antics that integrates its audience to just widespread appeal, at least from me and my crowd. From Beetlejuice, Bob and their crew's chaotic escapades and interactions with his ex-wife who is seeking revenge, to Willem Dafoe's engaging quest to bring in Beetlejuice and put him behind bars, to the Dietz's family's zany dynamics from new characters and all those that we know and love. The film successfully breathes new life into this beloved universe. These interacting plot developments and character arcs ensue that the audience feels both familiar and refreshed with the original and this new installment. Nevertheless, I still do have some reservations with Tim Burton's films as a whole. This film, while it does have a super distinctive style and the humor is integral to the film's charm, certain aspects of the dialogue just feel a little flat to me, and Burton's direction occasionally hampers the character's development and kind of feels like it boxes them in. For instance, Jenna Ortega's character has this subplot with a romantic interest of this boy who she likes, but she doesn't really know that much about, and I just feel like every time the story goes down this route, it loses some of the steam and some of the energy of this high-octane chaos that the rest of the film and every other character is possessing with their story beats, and you just wish that you can go back and focusing on those when you're focusing on this part of the story, which is very integral to the overall film's plot. In conclusion, Beetlejuice Beetlejuice stands as one of the funniest films of 2024 because it offers a delightful romp through a visionary, imaginative world, complete with impressive technical elements from many dioramas, witty one-liners, and a perfect callbacks to the original. Additionally, the practical effects, they're just so top-notch. They add so much charm and flavor to this film's enjoyment. There are certain gags that are just elevated because you can tell that's not visual effects, that's actually happening there in the moment. And I don't really want to go into too many spoilers because this film comes out very soon, but there's a gag involving a baby. Once you see it, it's one of the funniest things this year. I personally believe that Beetlejuice Beetlejuice is a super fun film for anyone looking for a great time at the cinemas, those who love the original, and crazy people like me who love those super over the top, super funny, super dynamic performances, you can catch Beetlejuice Beetlejuice in theaters worldwide in IMAX this Friday. So now it's time to dive into my score of Beetlejuice Beetlejuice, and I just had to give a precedent that the original one, when I saw it the other month, I give it a very strong 7 out of 10. There was a lot I liked about that movie, including the performances, including the technical elements. However, it kind of felt aimless at times. I didn't feel like the movie really moved anywhere, and I felt kind of checked out in the original movie's first third of the film, but then loved it once Michael Keaton's iconic Beetlejuice was introduced. And if you hear my thoughts on the original, you may be like, they sound so much similar to this new installment, and you would be exactly right, because I feel the exact same here. It's another 7 out of 10. There's so much that I like about this movie, and certain things I think are improvements from the iconic original one. However, just the plot line that I talked about before involving Jenna Ortega, while I love her as an actress, and I've loved her collabs with Tim Burton, I think Wednesday is one of Burton's best works to date, I just feel like she doesn't really have much to be given to do in this movie. While her plot is very integral to the film overall, I feel like her character is the most dry, the most straight of everyone involved in the cast, and I feel like those are always Tim Burton's least interesting films, least interesting characters, when they're not getting to be zany, when they're not getting to be over the top, when they have to play it straight, and when they have to play it bland, it kind of comes off very straight and very bland and very boring, which is something that Tim Burton's not the strongest at. But now that's gonna move us into our last segment here today, because we are an Oscars channel at the end of the day, and we have to talk its awards prospects. But we have to go back to the original for a frame of reference, because in 1988, Beetlejuice won an Oscar for Best Makeup and Hairstyling. So will the film repeat at this upcoming Oscars? At least my initial thought is probably not. They've done it once before, they've awarded it once before. I think it's a pretty shoo-in for a nomination, but I would not bank on it to win another Oscar this time around. However, I can see picking up some additional nominations on this round. These could include costume, production design. These two feel like they're definitely in the top 10. It's just, will they crack the top 5 if this film is a phenomenon at the box office, which I expect it to be. My audience seemed to love it. I very much enjoyed it. I feel like people will be going out of their way to recommend this to their family, to their friends, to those that they know who love the original, as well as introducing new people to this franchise. I could see the overwhelming support for this film to continue into the industry, and it could potentially rack up to 3 nominations. I just don't really see any wins for this film, and I know there'll be a certain corner of award spaces that will be clamoring for Michael Keaton to be nominated for this role. I think you have to look at it in 2 different angles. Will he go lead? Will he go supporting? You see the lead actor field, it's really stacked this year. The supporting actor race is kind of a wide open barrier, but what I think will happen at the end of the day is some critics groups will throw him a bone, will give him a nomination, because he's equally as fun, as enjoyable, as great inside this installment as he was in the iconic classic. However, he's still Beetlejuice, and it's something that we've seen before, and his screen time is very limited. One thing I can definitely see happening is the Golden Globes giving him a nomination in the lead actor comedy or musical, because we've seen that in the past. Think back to Borat 2, Maria Bakalova. She was nominated supporting everywhere else, but the Globes put her in lead in comedy musical because it was a guaranteed nomination. I can see the same thing happen here with Michael Keaton and Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. But that's going to bring us to the conclusion of my review of Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. It's one I would definitely recommend for all of you out there to go see. If you're coming to this review after watching the film, definitely let me know your thoughts down below. And the last thing I want to say about this movie is that in memoriam segment that happens during the credits, it got my heartstrings, and it got my whole audience as well. I think it's one of the best gags you can kind of say at the film overall, and I just really appreciate this movie's comedy. That's what Beetlejuice is all about. It's about the humor, it's about the sets, it's about the costumes, it's about just all of these practical effects coming together to creating a great project. But until next time, my name's Dyl, and this has been Fantasy Filmball.